Okay, Mickey, thanks for joining us. Here's another puzzle, this time from the Brier from a year or two ago. It's Brad Gushu up against Matt Dunstan, playing for Saskatchewan in this case. So we're Matt Dunstan. We're playing red. It's a fifth hand of 10. We're down by 2, so we got to try and generate some offense if we can. We've got hammer. It's our lead second, so he's throwing up a nice corner there. Gushu has responded with 2 rocks down the center, and Dunstan has a choice to make. So it's so he's got a couple of choices here. He can come around and freeze to yellow 2 and keep things kind of simple and kind of cagey. He can go around his guard and use it and put 1 in the bank, as we call it in the book, or he can throw another guard and really get kind of messy here. So, what are your thoughts about this situation?
Yeah, well, that's a great illustration of the three basic shots that he could call here. And none of them are wrong. I think you can make an argument for all three of them. The point we try and make is that what kind of an end can you expect to develop from those three approaches to this end? So So what typically happens at a higher competitive level, if you make that corner freeze to the yellow 2, they're probably going to freeze, and then you're going to try to run that tight guard back, blow everything up, and then use your corner guard later. So that's probably a 3 or 4 shot sequence. Maybe by the time you get to thirds rocks or third second, you're going to have a chance to use a corner guard if you can blow things up properly and maybe get a half a miss by them or a hit and roll by you or something. So it's a very sort of a safe way to try and approach it when you have that peel ability. Um,
Can I
but
can
quite
I ask,
often,
can I ask about the safe way? Like, to me, that initially sounds like it's gonna be a mess in the middle. And if you've got hammer, you're gonna want to open things up and have some space to score your 1. But if you're running back that yellow 1 into that pile in the middle, that's going to build up. If you freeze to yellow 2, then that sounds like kind of a messy situation to me.
yeah, I know what you're saying, but the yellow 2 is pretty high in the house, and the yellow 1 is pretty close to the house. So imagine a red one that's frozen to 2 or a few inches short, and then a yellow one that's frozen to that red one or a few inches short. Now you got a rock that's only 2 or 3 feet away from that yellow 1, and now it's a pretty simple run back for at this level, and they're going to get all the rocks moving or most of them moving. And if you do that twice, you can see how the house gets empty pretty fast, and maybe you get a chance to use your corner guard. And if not, you get your blank. So it depends. I would say at this level is more of a patient way of doing it. Perhaps at the club you call that freeze, and your person might make it kind of halfway, and then they make theirs, and it gets clustered in the middle. It might turn into a bit of a mess, congested mess in the middle. But this level, the freeze is going to be made 90% of the time. The next freeze is going to be made close 90% of the time. And then you start banging away to try and clear it up, and then use your corner guard that way. So it's a clear it up first and then use the corner guard later kind of a mentality.
Okay, fair enough. So the second option is to put 1 in the bank straight away.
Yeah, if you get one behind that red one now, then depending how well you make it, they might chase it with hack weight. They might throw another center guard. They might go around everything on the button or whatever. So you've got 1 in the bank, but there's a pretty good chance that you're going to have 3 in the middle you're going to have to deal with, or they're going to be corner frozen to you or something. But you get 1 to sort of put away safely, ideally, and then you clean up the middle. Against good teams, it's not probably going to result in a 3-ender unless you get some big misses, but it is sort of a simpler way um, to create offense and throwing another guard, which is the third option. If you if you throw another corner guard, whether you stack it on the same side as that red one or split the corner guards here on the other side of the rings, now the other guy, Gushu, would have no chance, no choice, I mean, but to throw another long guard and go hard for the force, or maybe go around everything on the button and you start banging the center guards back. Um, or you corner freeze to him and try and make something happen. But you could really get messy if you throw the other guard. And what I'm seeing more and more is that you don't even get a chance to use the corner guards. They play in the middle, and then you freeze or play a hack waiter, or you run it back, and the play ends up being all in the middle, and you have two corner guards sitting out there being ignored, being neglected because you didn't get a chance because you had to deal with a mess in the middle, and you never got a chance to use those guards. So it's kind of, and none of them is wrong. Like I said, none of them is wrong. It's just what the point is, by playing a certain shot here now, you can kind of predict what kind of an end is going to develop. And that's, you decide what's right for your team. And in this case, it's only the fifth end. So Matt doesn't want to give the game away here. He's going to try and get his deuce. He's going to go pretty hard for it, but he's not going to give the game away. But he's also not going to play down the middle and generate what's probably at this level more often than not a blank.
Right. Okay. So that's my takeaway. Like, we're going to set off on a path here, and this next shot really defines the path. So if I go around and freeze in the middle, we're going to blow things up a little bit later on. It's going to be in the middle. The rocks are going to be grouped. We're going to blow things up, and rocks are going to fly. At least I'm going to get my force because it's opened up, my single anyways, and probably a blank as well. But I might get the chance to use the corner later on. You never know.
Yeah.
The second option is to go around it, put one in the bank now, and it's a little bit simpler than the third option, which is the sex and violence option, where she got rocks all over the place, and rocks down the middle, got two corners up, and you're busy cleaning them out, and they're busy trying to pin you down in the center, and it just gets pretty messy and pretty ugly, and you could give up a steal, which would pretty much sink Dunstan at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's the point, is you can decide which fork in the road you want to take here by how well what shot you choose and how well you make it at this point.
Okay, so here we are. Gushu's playing is another perfect center guard from Jeff Walker, and we're about to see Matt's decision here in the fifth end, looking to score two.
Yeah, so this is prior to the no tick era, but he's looking at his options here. Should I play the freeze to the middle or something? And it's okay if I tick the center guard. Nowadays you can't do that because if you tick it off the line, everything goes away. So even more reason to play the shot that he calls. But by going behind the corner guard and put one in the bank, he's saying, okay, I'm going to put this one here. I get second shot buried, one you can't kill. I'm going to address the middle a little bit later when I choose to, when the angles are set up the way I want, and when I see what you do with your next one.
Mickey, you were making the point earlier on that the lead is just thrown this pretty much the exact same shot, and now you're asking him to throw a second one. It's 5, 6, 7 more feet, and he should make that 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's another, in any point in a curling game, when you can let the guy who just throw the same shot again, that increases your odds of it being made. So when you got leads with almost nothing but draws, and you can give them the same path, the same turn, the same guy, the same everything, your odds of making that shot really increase. So this come around has a higher percentage chance of being made than just a random come around where, let's say it was 3 or 4 rocks down the road, and you say, okay, now let's use that corner guard, and your third man who hasn't thrown a draw for 3 ends, he might make it. He'd probably be close. But the guy who just threw it in that path, he's got a really good sense of that path. The sweepers know the path. You know the ice really well. So you can really increase your odds of making this shot if the guy can throw it back to back in the same path. And I think it's more and more you'll see the elite curlers are doing this with when they wanted to get a deuce, even in a tie game. Someone like Cooey or Epping or guys who like offense, throw the corner, go around it, and then try clean up the middle. It's become more and more common. I think that's one of the reasons.
Okay. You make the point that if you're going to under curl or over curl on this come around, what you want to do is you want to over curl, and good things can happen. As Gushu's, he's going to chase here if he can, and if he gets a little tight, he can wick his that red guard into the house. If you under curl and leave it peeking out the other way, then good things can happen for Gushu. If it's over curled, then good things can happen for Dunstan.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you want to make it perfect, but if you are going to show him a piece, it's better to show them here because he could rub the guard in. If he does get a small piece of yours, he could leave it in the rings or leave it behind those two yellows or something. Whereas chasing with the intern, if you could see half a rock there, he just rubs your corner guard out of the way and he spins into the 4 foot, or he only has to move you 3 or 4 feet to get you off the rings, and then he rolls to the button or whatever. So in this case, it's not perfect, but you'd prefer perfect. But if you're
Yeah,
going to show him a piece, this is the piece to show him.
because he's got to get it 12 feet across those rings to get it out.
Yeah, he's got to hit a big piece of it. Now he's risking rubbing the guard or rubbing it into the rings. And I think what happens here, if I remember, is Gallant is probably thinking the same thing and gets a little safe on his release and he breezes by everything.
Here he goes. He doesn't miss many of these.
No, but he's thinking, I don't hit that corner guard. It's in the free guard zone. If I hit it skinny, it's going in the rings. And he thought a little too much weight or a little back on it, and it breezes by. And now Dunstone can start his plan.